Welcome to the Prop Drop. Tune in every week for the best prop bet picks and analysis across all major sports. Brought to you by WSN.com.
Hello and welcome to WSN's Prop Drop, where we talk the top props across the sports world. I'm Alece Anderson, joined as I always am by Ryan Sullivan and Adam Forsythe, and we're going to try to give you the best locks, most unique props, teasers, parlays, whatever we can find. Be sure to check out WSN.com, and while you're at it, subscribe to the WSN YouTube channel. Okay, boys, let's get into the biggest steals of the week. Adam, what you got?
Yeah, Lee, still not a lot of live sports happening right now, so I'm going to look to the future for my biggest deal of the week. They've updated the odds on NFL teams to make or miss the playoffs, and you can actually bet on New England to miss the playoffs. It pays at plus 245. The Pats losing their franchise quarterback, Tom Brady, they did little to improve their team over the winter, and they are statistically the oldest team on defense and the oldest team on offense heading into this season. So on value alone, the Pats to miss the playoffs at plus 245 is my steal bet of the week.
Moving out Tom Brady, though, the average age of the offense came down by like 40 years.
That's why I was shocked that they're still the oldest team. It's ridiculous. There you go.
That is amazing. That's a great call. Right now over at FanDuel, you know I love FanDuel. I'm not sure how or why, but money lines and spreads have been released for a number of upcoming games in the 2020 NFL season. Now, of course, we know teams' opponent schedules, but we don't know their actual schedules when the dates will land just yet. However, we have the Bengals and the Giants. Right now, the Bengals are favored. Right now, they're favored by 1.5. The Giants paying plus 105 for the win on the money, and I like it because on paper, I like the Giants roster a little bit more than I like the Bengals, but also if this game lands at the start of the season, Joe Burrow is going to be walking around on eggshells in the pocket trying to get used to the flow of an NFL football game. A.J. Green's not going to be up to full speed just yet. The Giants could be a lock, and paying plus 105, that's easy money.
For my biggest steal of the week, I'm back over eyeing women's tennis. I basically just go between Russian hockey and women's tennis, but also looking to the future. 888 Sport has odds out on the Aussie Open 2021, and if you're feeling confident, there's some money to win. Ashley Barty sits up top at plus 800. Naomi Osaka, who won it in 2019, is at plus 900. Bianca Andreescu plus 1,000. 2020 winner Sophia Kenin surprisingly sits at plus 1,100, and 7-time Aussie Open champ Serena Williams is at plus 1,300. See what I mean? Money to be made if you can invest and wait. Head on over to 888 Sport and check it out. For our next broadcast, we want to hear from you. Did you agree with our picks? Where did we go wrong? And most importantly, give us your wildest prop predictions from any sport, and we promise to discuss the top comments in next week's show. Be sure to like and subscribe for the most up-to-date prop predictions. And before we get to our prop selections for this week, for our listeners living in New Jersey or West Virginia, go to WSN.com for special bonuses and deals if you want to bet on this week's games. You can compare the best legal online sportsbooks and get exclusive offers when you sign up and start betting. A grand total of 3 NFL teams have had their odds improved for the 2020 Super Bowl following the draft last weekend. Can you guess who they are? Brian Sheridan from TopBet Sports joins us once again. Great to have you back, Brian. Can you give us your best guess for one of them and why?
Yeah, you know, the Colts, they had a nice draft. I think they're in a fairly wide open division. The Texans seem to have gone the other way, getting rid of Hopkins. And one thing to think about with the Colts, they went from 30 to 25 to 1. But if the NFL goes on with no fans, you've got yourself Phillip Rivers playing without having to worry about crowd noise, and so he'll be able to, rather than spastically run up and down from the line from the shotgun position, his players will actually be able to hear him. And they had a nice draft, picking up Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin and Michael Pittman Jr. on the outside. They have arguably the best offensive line in the NFL, and they lost a couple of games last year. Set, and I don't think they're going to do that with Rivers this year. So I think that division is theirs for the taking, and then you get in the dance and things can happen. So some value there at 25 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the contenders, he brings up some interesting points to the Colts, but I'm going to go in a different direction, trying to guess which these three teams are. The two teams, in my mind, immediately pop up. I think the acquisition of Trent Williams for the 49ers likely moved San Fran's odds. Williams, a massive boost to an already strong 49ers offensive line. Teams in the NFC West are definitely not going to be happy they have to deal with the 7-time Pro Bowler multiple times in a season. Jimmy Garoppolo should have a ton of confidence now that Williams is in front of him. The second team I think that probably jumped up on the board a little bit at least is the Cowboys. They were pretty much universally given top marks for having the best draft in years. I was really ready for some fireworks when I heard that owner Jerry Jones was secluding himself from his scouts and hiding on his mega yacht, and he was going to do all the picks himself, but somehow he actually pulled it off. They improved in plenty of areas, but perhaps the biggest upgrade was the receiving core, the addition of CeeDee Lamb. My last guess, this one I'm a little bit iffy on, but I would go with the Steelers maybe. Pittsburgh had a solid draft and gave Ben Roethlisberger some solid offensive pieces. The second round, they snagged receiver Chase Claypool. The Steel City Club notorious for having a great eye for talent when it comes to the wide receivers. I also really like the pick of Anthony McFarland Jr. in the 4th. It indicates the Steelers are going to head into next season with a bit of a running back by committee approach that will ease James Conner's workload, and that will make life miserable for teams trying to game plan an offensive attack. So I think I'm going to go 49ers, Cowboys, and Steelers. Sully, are we on the right track here?
I think so. We can definitely agree on a couple there for sure. I think the Niners, I mean, hands down, they were already in the Super Bowl conversation for next year, but their odds jumping up for sure. I mean, one of the biggest holes they were facing was replacing the spot of DeForest Buckner. They added Kinlaw early on there, who's going to do a great job for them. And then Joe Staley. I feel like one might have to do with the other here, but nonetheless, he conveniently retired right when they added Trent Williams to fill his shoes on the offensive line. A huge upgrade for them. I mean, nothing against Staley, but Trent Williams, if he can get back up to game speed again, he is one of the best out there. The Cowboys, for sure, a gift horse fell into their laps with CeeDee Lamb. I don't think anybody in Cowboys camp, any of the scouts or anything, were expecting this guy to drop to them like he did, but of course they capitalized. They did a great job. I'm not as sold, mind you, on the Cowboys when it comes to Super Bowl. Even in that division, I'm not super sold on them because I don't know if Dak Prescott's going to be in uniform in week 1. If they can't figure out a contract, he's not going to be afraid to hold out. I mean, past Cowboys have done it. You look at Elliott last year. You look at, Emmitt Smith a number of years ago as well. Cowboy stars have no problem holding out for a better contract. So the one team I'm going to add to the list, though, I don't know about the Steelers, Adam. You make some good points there, but I'm going to go with the New York Giants. I think that the Giants did a pretty good job improving their offensive line, which they desperately needed to do. Andrew Thomas, a lot of people had as the best offensive lineman in this draft. They add him in. Xavier McKinney, a lot of people had him down as the best safety in this draft, or one of the best safeties anyhow, and they get Adam in early on in the second round. Total steal pick for them. Matt Peart out of UConn, I think it's going to do a great job for them on the other side of their offensive line as well. And then they just, filled some holes here and there, some defensive backs, rolling the dice on some linebackers and whatnot too. But the big key is that Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones will be safe in that offense, and the rest of that division I'm not super sold on. So I think the Giants will be my third selection to see if they moved up.
All right.
I like it.
Not too shabby, guys. Not too shabby. 2 for 3, both of you. Answers for the largest odds jump: 49ers, Cowboys, and Lions.
Ooh. The Lions.
The Lions.
What, they improved from 2,000 to 1 to 1,500 to 1?
Well, I mean, the Smith edition there, they could have a good 1-2 punch in the ground game. That could work out well. But yeah, I don't think they're making the playoffs. They're not making too much noise.
Yeah.
All right, jumping along here, OddShark has dropped lines on who will make and who will miss the NFL playoffs this season. Brian, who jumps off the board for you?
I definitely see some value in the Miami Dolphins. That division, AFC East, is kind of the most interesting this year. In a lot of places, the first time the Bills are favored over the Patriots with Stidham at quarterback. And so with Miami having a solid draft, they finished up the year last year, winning 3 of their last 5, and one of those losses was a 1-point loss, beating the Patriots in Week 17 too, in a must-win game for the Patriots. With Tua coming in, I think definitely there's some value in them making the playoffs at plus 400, and more importantly, even to win that division at around 8-1. Yeah, I like Miami.
Very interesting. Yeah, he makes some great points with the Miami Dolphins. And the big thing is that there's another playoff spot to be had now. So, I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot with a number of teams. And again, you know what? I'm going to stick with the New York Giants. I'm going to stay on the bandwagon. There's a number of teams here that are definitely better locks to make or to miss, but the odds are not that sexy. It's not going to be that great a payday. The Giants, however, are paying 3-1 plus 300 here if you jump on them to make the postseason. Now, I know if you watch the 2019 season at all, or even the 2018, 17, 16, etc., the Giants and playoffs don't usually go hand in hand. But nonetheless, I think we could have something here, especially with those odds given. This division, the NFC East, it was one of the worst divisions in all of football last year, and we're expecting wonders to change all of a sudden. The Eagles have not improved that much. The Redskins, we know they're going to be brutal, especially with Dwayne Haskins getting the ball for every single game this season. I'm not sold on this guy. And the Niners, the Cowboys, like I was just saying before, I'm not sold that Dak Prescott's going to be in uniform in week 1, 2, let alone 3 or 4. If he is, we saw last year, they're a fairly overrated team. I think they'll be better, but still a little overrated. So I think the door is open there for these guys. And then to add to that, they have the 7th easiest strength of schedule going for them right now as well. They're playing on average 0.480 is the schedule strength, that's the win percentage of the teams they're playing this season. They've got a depleted Rams team they're playing against, the Bengals, of course, the teams in their division as mentioned. It could be decent Cardinals team. It could be decent Browns team as well. Don't turn your back on the Giants at 3-1. It could pay.
All right, all aboard the Giants hype train. I like it. There's definitely some intriguing lines out there that I will be snagging immediately before the lines move too much, and I'm sure my first pick will upset some people. I can't believe New England has made the playoffs year after year after year. They've dominated, but I think this is finally the year they've missed the playoffs, and if that is right now being offered up at plus 245, I think it's a rebuilding year for the Pats, and the odds makers have not quite caught up with that. I think the Patriots will miss the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Fantastic value. In fact, as I mentioned off the top of the show, it is my steal bet of the week. The team has done little to improve, and on average are still the oldest team in the league, both defensively and on offense. Already an aging core. Tom Brady no longer at the helm, and I think Bill Belichick's magic can only get the team so far, so I'm looking forward to cashing in on that one. And then another one I identified is the Seahawks to make the playoffs at minus 160. Among the top Super Bowl contenders, the value on this one is by far the best. It obviously will be a dogfight between San Fran and Seattle for that division title, but I think it's a near lock. The second place finisher in the division will snag a wildcard spot. For comparison's sake, the Pats to make the playoffs is paying out at minus 190. So it's insanity, to me at least, that they have better odds than the Seahawks. So there's my 2 value picks. Seattle to make the playoffs, New England to miss.
I like it, especially because I'm a Seahawks fan, so heck yeah.
Let's go.
Head to WSN.com for extensive odds and free picks for all major sports. Moving along to the 2021 NFL Draft. Who's going to go first in that one? Trevor Lawrence is favored over Justin Fields to go first overall. Curious to see if you guys agree. Adam.
Yeah, there's a bit of a diversity in the first couple props we talked about with some random picks, but this one's pretty easy for me. I can't really imagine that Trevor Lawrence does not get taken with the top pick, and the odds makers agree with that one. He's paying minus 250, which is actually pretty reasonable when you consider he's been discussed as the probable 2021 first overall pick for several years now. The only thing that might change the tides is a massive injury to Lawrence, much like we saw with Tua this year. Looking back at it, I was kind of curious what the numbers look like. Joe Burrows, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield all entered their senior season with some fanfare, but none of them were the favorite to be taken first overall, so that is something to keep in mind. However, all that being said, this far out, I think Lawrence is the safe play. Grabbing him now at minus 250 might actually look pretty savvy in a few months' time, because if he starts the season on fire, his odds will probably skyrocket.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I mean, LSU's offense was picked apart pretty well, I should say, in the NFL draft. Better English there. But Alabama as well. I mean, kind of, taking a step back as well. A lot of players they lost. Same with the Sooners as well. I mean, it looks like, the cream of the crop may sit in Clemson right now. So Trevor Lawrence, like his draft stock, just like you say, Adam, it might just rise and rise from here on out, barring injury, of course. But yeah, I mean, you look at things, and like Jarrett Stidham, for example, in New England, And this guy was listed as one of the top guys, one of the top prospects entering his senior year. And then he had a terrible senior season, and he fell right into the Patriots' lap. So that's why I kind of have faith in this guy a little bit. Don't have faith in the Patriots, but I think Stidham could be better than what's advertised so far. Nonetheless, this question in particular really comes down to who is going to have that number one pick. So who is going to crap the bed the most in the NFL this season? You've got the Panthers, you've got the Redskins, you've got the Jaguars. There might be a few others for honorable mention in there. But do these guys need quarterbacks? Will they roll the dice on a quarterback? I mean, you got Dwayne Haskins in Washington, so it's not sold that they're going to need a QB there. They might give him another kick at the can. In Jacksonville, absolutely Gardner Minshew is going to be an afterthought if they finish dead last. The Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater, they got into a big 3-year contract here, so of course they could bring in Lawrence to sit behind him for a season or two. At the end of the day, if you're in dead last, it's because your quarterback was terrible and you need a major upgrade, and this guy is a major upgrade. So yeah, Lawrence is the smart money, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys want to hang on to their QB, and then Penei Sewell out of Oregon on the offensive line may be a name that gets kicked around here, and he's paying plus 500 on the board.
Okay. Who's going to win, switching it a little bit, NFL's comeback player of the year? Of course, Rob Gronkowski's leading that one at plus 350. Roethlisberger at plus 400. Matthew Stafford at plus 625. J.J. Watt plus 700. Cam Newton plus 750. Ryan, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, there's a number of good picks on this board, actually. And Gronk, of course, is the sexy pick. And everybody wants to be on the Gronk bandwagon because he's such a fun-loving guy. And no, he's not going to win this thing. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. He'll have a decent season, I think, but he's not my pick here. Just because his name's on all the headlines is why he's leading the show here. But first up, two receivers stand out to me, one more so than the other. First up, though, A.J. Green with Joe Burrow. I think he could really capitalize. He's paying plus 800, so it's pretty good odds there. And I'd take A.J. Green to find the end zone over Gronkowski any day of the week. Nonetheless, it might take AJ a little bit of time to get back up to speed. I'm going to go with T.Y. Hilton here. This is the sexiest pick of all. He's paying plus 6,000 in Indianapolis right now. He's got Phillip Rivers chucking on the ball. You heard Brian talking about it earlier in the show. They have arguably the best offensive line in all of the NFL. So Rivers is going to have time in that pocket, which he needs because he runs at a quick 2 miles per hour at top speed. So he has all the time in the world to sit back there, find his wideouts, and he's made legends out of subpar names that are, half decent, even bubble guys. You look back, Keenan Allen, I mean, this guy was taken later in the draft. You look at Malcolm Floyd, are you kidding me? This guy was one of the best. Vincent Jackson was a second rounder. It took a few years to establish himself. Phillip Rivers can put the ball in this guy's hands. We've already seen he's got the speed, he's got the leather, he's got it all going for him. He just needs to get the football now. Jacoby Brissett couldn't do it. I think Phillip can, and paying at those odds, this could be a steal of a deal.
I like that your Chargers bias just shined through a little bit because you just called Malcolm Floyd and Vincent Jackson legends.
Hey man, look back, look at the stats. Floyd had some good years. And Vincent Jackson was one of the elite for a while there, okay?
Were they?
The team wasn't. He was, okay?
All right, well, before I get to my pick, there are a couple of names on this list that I think are just downright hilarious, and they're being offered up at kind of weird odds. Antonio Brown at plus 1,200, the wide receiver, essentially has burned every bridge in the league and alternates between ranting on his Instagram and getting into screaming matches with the police. I hope he gets the help he needs. It's not really a funny situation, but there is zero chance he wins this award or likely plays in the league again. Right behind him is plus 2,400 is Myles Garrett. What a comeback. Yeah, right. A comeback for trying to kill someone? He could have the best statistical season of all time. He wouldn't get a sniff of this award. They're going to award somebody an award because he got suspended, missed some games, because he actually committed assault. How is that actually being offered up as a prop? So my actual picks, I promise I get to them. They don't have the greatest odds, but I really like Ben Roethlisberger at plus 400. I think the Steelers might be a sneaky good team this year. The veteran QB is rehabbed hard. He claims he is at 100%. If he can get the Pittsburgh Steelers into the playoffs, voters would kind of be hard-pressed to ignore his return. He could have easily retired following his injury, but he wants one more kick at the cannon. If he pulls it off, some hardware probably sure to follow. If you're looking for some crazy value, a solid long shot bet is Trent Williams at plus 10,000. He has not played football in over a year. It was obviously an ugly divorce with the Redskins, but a fresh start in a great spot with the 49ers could lead to some award consideration for the Pro Bowler.
Will Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz be traded before the season starts? Odds are yes at plus 450 and no minus 850 for Rodgers. As for Wentz, yes is plus 600, no minus 1200. Ryan, do you think either of these guys move before the season starts?
I mean, I like to come on this show, as I'm sure you two do as well, and try and influence people, get them into, oh yeah, betting, let's get into this here, let's make things interesting. Stay away from this bet. This is not good. Unless you want to put down money and make virtually nothing back, no one's getting dealt before the season starts. Aaron Rodgers, he's got a guy sitting behind him now to the draft that's played 0 professional football games. Same thing with Carson Wentz, 0 professional football games. However, if the question here was which of these two backups is going to start first, that, in my mind, is going to be Jalen Hurts, because I foresee Carson Wentz getting hurt yet again this season, especially with a long offseason here of not being able to practice really or do anything. You can go to the gym. I'm sure these guys own immaculate, gigantic gyms at all their homes, but other than that, you can't really do anything, and Wentz needs all of the training he can get because the guy is made of glass. So yeah, I would take Hurts for that, but there's not a chance that either of these guys are going to start this season, barring an injury to one of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, 100% agree with you, Ryan. The odds won't land you a big payday, but it's obviously a strong no for me. In the Green Bay situation, I envision a slow transition from Rodgers to Jordan Love, much like Favre reluctantly passed the torch to Rodgers. And obviously it will be uncomfortable, but look at the success it brought the franchise, and we all know on this show that I am the Packers guy here. Plenty of reports Rodgers is fuming. I just still think this is his team for a few more years while Love learns the pro game, like Ryan mentioned. No to Rodgers being traded, only paying out at minus 850, but it seems like a safe bet. In Philly, the odds even worse, but I am betting Carson Wentz will not be traded. He's going nowhere. He's early into a massive 4-year contract. He's only 27. Drafting Jalen Hurts is actually a fantastic safety net in my eyes. As Ryan detailed, Wentz is injury prone, and if he does get hurt this season, Hurts should be able to step in. In the meantime, I really like that he has a skill set that will open up Doug Peterson's playbook. I can envision Hurts being utilized in like a Taysom Hill type role, and I'm really excited to see what the duo do this upcoming season.
I like it. I believe you guys both agreed there, and you would call that what, a Honda Accord?
Oh, it's the 2020 model.
That's right.
All right, moving along to my favorite name in football. Will Tua Tagovailoa start week 1 of the NFL season as the starting quarterback of the Dolphins? Yes, plus 175. No, minus 260. Ryan.
Yes, Tua Tagovailoa will start the season as the Miami Dolphins starting quarterback. I bet my Keanu Reeves speed poster on it. I bet the Chargers snack helmet. I've got a Wayne Simmons Flyers jersey. I put it all down on Tua getting the start, and I tell you why. Because in this preseason, as short as it may be, I believe Tua is going to outplay the aging Ryan Fitzpatrick. I have believed in the Fitzmagic in the past, but this guy is showing major wear on those tires, and nobody, I repeat, nobody in Miami is paying to go watch Ryan Fitzpatrick throw the football, regardless of how beautiful and pristine that beard may be. They're paying to go see Tua. They're not paying to watch him hold a clipboard, and I believe that Tua is going to outplay Ryan Fitzpatrick in the preseason, much like Russell Wilson did a number of years ago to Matt Flynn after they gave him a suitcase of unearned cash. Wilson took the job, just like here. Tua is going to take the job. He's starting for the Dolphins in week 1.
Very interesting. I am going to respectfully disagree with you, Ryan. I think this is much more the New York Giants situation from last year where Eli Manning gets a few starts before they throw Jones in. Tua is still very raw, and because of his hip injury, he is far removed from his last competitive game. So when the season eventually starts up, it'll be almost a year since he last played. I think the Dolphins take their time in what they hope is a franchise quarterback. There's no need to rush him. The Dolphins are going to be very bad this year, so to ensure the rookie quarterback's confidence isn't shot only a few weeks into his career, I think they let Ryan Fitzpatrick back under center for at least a few weeks. The veteran should be able to handle starting duties, and then if things go completely off track, they let Tua have a crack at leading his team to a win.
I know you're right, but I hope you're wrong.
But you were fired up.
You're wrong. Oh, yeah. And I'm not betting that speed poster. Everything else on the table, the speed poster stays here.
Okay, that's fair. Understood. Head to WSN.com for tons of betting guides for beginners and anyone wanting to learn more about strategy and how sports betting works. Justin Herbert, is he going to be the opening week starter for the Chargers? That's a yes at plus 240, a no at minus 380. We welcome back Brian Sheridan to the show. Brian, what are your thoughts on the Chargers #1 in week 1?
No, I don't think Herbert's going to start in game 1. For that matter, I don't think he's going to start at all this year. Without the off-season workouts, rookie coming in, especially a rookie like him who's a little bit raw. They've got Tyrod Taylor, who's an NFL pro, who a lot of people thought they were going to stick with anyway going into this year, and probably should have drafted Simmons. That being said, who knows? Herbert's long-term potential could be there, but for this year, no. I think the Chargers have a defense that can win now, and with Tyrod Taylor and all those weapons, they're better off letting the rookie sit and learn.
Yeah, I'm with Brian. It's still a soft spot for me that they didn't go after Isaiah Simmons, but this is how the cards unfolded. And, with that said, the Chargers believe that they have a chance this season to make some noise. I mean, I believe it. They have a great-looking roster, and then you get to their quarterback, and you're like, oh, Tyrod, okay, well, we've seen this show before, but hoping for a different Tyrod here. Nonetheless, with the Chargers and so much belief in what they can do, I think they're going to try and win now. And with that said, you can't do it with a rookie that's never played a game before. So yeah, Herbert sticks to the bench. It's one of those things, it's the greatest cliche in all of broadcasting. Time will tell. We'll see how the Herbert pick turns out. I know I'm kicking a dead horse here, but I don't have all the faith in the world in it, but I do have faith that Tyrod will start in week 1.
I'm going to go 2 for 2 when it comes to picking recent draft picks starting this year as backups. I'm agreeing with you on this one, Ryan. As much as I don't like Tyrod Taylor as a starter for the Chargers, you kind of have to think the veteran gets the nod over Herbert when the season kicks off this fall, or if the season kicks off this fall. Los Angeles, much like Miami, will not be a good football team. I'll disagree with you there. I just don't think they're good. So I imagine Taylor will probably get at least a few games, and then maybe much like the Tua situation in Miami, if it gets really ugly, they turn things over to the face of the franchise, let him have a few games to figure things out. And the odds makers certainly agree, because Herbert, to start his backup, is only paying minus 380.
There you have it. Odds have now been released for the 2020 NFL Coach of the Year. Bill Belichick without Tom Brady is up top at plus 650. Bruce Arians with Tom Brady is at plus 1200. Kyle Shanahan, Brian Flores, and Kevin Stefanski are all sitting at plus 1600. Adam, start us off.
Yeah, it's interesting the Belichick one at plus 650, because I said earlier in the show it's my steal bet of the week that I think the Pats missed the playoffs. But if Belichick somehow drags this aging team into the playoffs without any bona fide superstar, then yeah, maybe he is the greatest coach of all time and he will win this award. But I'm going to go in a bit of a different direction, because there's a couple of names that are jumping off the page to me in terms of a chance to win and value. Ryan and I have both documented over the last couple of months on WSN.com that we think the Bills are ready to take the next step and finally win their division, surpassing the Pats. Coach Sean McDermott is paying out at plus 1,800. It is the 6th best odds. And a little further down the list is Vic Fangio at plus 2,500. Much like Buffalo, I've been pretty vocal about how I think the Broncos are in a spot to surprise this year. They made a lot of subtle improvements, like adding Melvin Gordon. They've given the starting quarterback role to Drew Lock, and they drafted Jerry Jeudy. So if Fangio can get his team into the playoffs, I think he definitely gets some award consideration. And at plus 2,500, I'm willing to take the risk.
I think that's a great call. I'd put money down on Fangio. I agree with you there. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with the New England Patriots. All of the love that they keep getting, all of the attention they get about, are they going to bring in a quarterback? This Cam Newton ongoing saga. Bill Belichick's dog is drafting for them. It's just, I'm done. I'm done with it. The Patriots are a moot point because, Adam, you said it. The Bills are going to win that division. It's going to happen. The Patriots are an old, aging story, and the final chapter is folding up on the New England Patriots, and I couldn't be more excited about that, to be honest with you. For me, on this board, Cliff Kingsbury is the one for me. And the guy's paying plus 1,800 right now in Arizona, and they have loaded up. Yes, they got DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody knows that. Even if you don't watch football, you've heard that story. He's one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in all of football. You add him to that mix with Larry Fitzgerald, with Christian Kirk. Yeah, they've got a pretty sweet-looking wideout core down there. Kyler Murray as well, with a little more confidence after a year of seasoning, coming off a Rookie of the Year win. And then you've also got Kenyon Drake, a full year of Kenyon Drake, who looked fantastic in that offense. They've unloaded David Johnson. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And not to mention, look at this schedule. Yeah, they've got the depleted LA Rams twice a year. That's not too shabby. But on top of that, they face the Eagles, who might not be that great. Let's not jump on the Eagle bandwagon here, folks. They take on the Redskins, who are going to be terrible. They also play the Lions, the Jets, the Giants, and the Panthers. So I believe, and I'm gonna double down on my bet here into what we were talking about earlier, teams that will make or miss the playoffs. It's paying plus 210 right now for the Cardinals to make the playoffs. Why not? With an extra seed in there, I think 3 teams out of the NFC West will be representing in the NFL postseason in 2020. Book it. Cardinals to make the playoffs. I'm taking Cliff for the win, the coach of the year.
Can we talk about how sick his house was? Did you guys see the draft photo?
Amazing.
This guy's like a rookie coach. And if you haven't seen it, it's all over Twitter. Cliff Kingsbury, his house that he did his draft from was unreal. The guy's
dollar goes a long way. The dollar goes a long way in Arizona, man.
I might move to Arizona.
It's not. Well, let's join the Outlaw Tour here. I'll caddy for you, and we'll head down.
Done.
I love it. Speaking of Twitter, I heard Twitter mentioned in there. Can't talk Twitter without talking Donald Trump. And also the news of Kim-Jong. There's a prop out there for that. So the prop is, will Donald Trump tweet about Kim Jong-un before May the 2nd? No is minus 550. Yes is plus 325. And I don't know, for me, like, I don't follow him. I refuse to follow him. But I do know that he tweets all day long. So yes, at plus 325 seems like the obvious choice to me. But Ryan, your thoughts?
This is ridiculous. This is, I mean, a world leader should not be, in my mind, tweeting, let alone tweeting about another world leader, unless something comes up that has to do with his own country. And nothing is going to, but yet you can't turn the page on this because you always have to expect the unexpected with good old Donald Trump. And, case in point, last week he recommended that people consume bleach. He said it might be a good idea to consume some bleach. Come on.
Did you guys hear that there is actually, because you think like, okay, nobody's going to actually listen to him, right? But there has been a huge spike for like the poison control line in people that are doing this.
My God.
I tried it.
You're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to throw out a different one on my own here. I'm going to throw a little side wager. I believe, just because you never know what to expect out of the Donald Trump Twitter, the next tweet he sent, well, he's going to tweet, here it is, about Carol Baskin before he tweets about Kim Jong-un. So there it is.
Wow.
Everyone's going to jump on that.
Baskin. Carol Baskin. Yeah, there's a lot of mystery surrounding Kim Jong-un. Like, if the North Korean leader is like, what's his deal? Is he on his deathbed? It seems like only a matter of time before something leaks out from the communist country, and we'll get a bit of a clearer picture of what's actually going on. But until then, it's all speculation, and that's where Donald Trump thrives. Speculation, rumors, making up stuff. He's all about it. So I think he will tweet about Kim Jong-un before the end of the weekend. I'm willing to take the risk, especially at the odds of plus 325. Let's make some money on it. If 2020 wasn't weird enough, we're now betting on props involving the North Korean leader in quarantine because of a global pandemic. What the hell is going on? Man, 2020 is a strange place.
It's gotta be.
But I'm gonna make some money on it.
Yeah, there are props out there for Korean baseball if you'd prefer. So, we could go that route, but I think this is definitely way more captivating than Korean baseball at the moment.
Oh my god.
What's our goal at WSN is to find fantastic value, in that prop at plus 325, like, it's worth the risk. If he doesn't take it, you're not going to lose that much money, and if he does, hey, payday, you got yourself some weekend beverages.
I really hope that what I hear is true and North Korea can't watch, our YouTube shows and this and that, because I'm afraid to say it, but the funniest thing that I saw, because we've seen Kim-Jong is on his deathbed. He's alive. Nope, he's dead. He's this, he's that. So someone actually posted like a weekend at Bernie's, but it was weekend at Kim's. Oh my God. I was like, I would not create that. I'll talk about it, but I would be terrified to create a meme like that. A reminder, real money daily fantasy sports are a great option for people living in a state where traditional sports betting isn't legal. Head to WSN.com. They can set you up with links to DraftKings and FanDuel. Don't forget to head to WSN.com as well as WSN's YouTube channel for tons of coverage on all sports. Make sure you like and subscribe to Prop Drop. For Adam Forsythe and Ryan Sullivan, I'm Alece Anderson, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.